Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. In this video, we're covering the 2022 NFL Combine. Super excited to get into the details. What you can expect in this video is we're going to be looking at a few websites here. I'm going to pull up the NFL.com to see who they believe were the winners and the losers, and we'll also look at PFF's winners and losers and see if there's any cross-referencing going on. And then we have a huge database of 40 times and measurements and all kinds of stuff. And we'll look through that and kind of compare everything from the positions, looking at the quarterback, the running back, the wide receiver, and the tight end. We only care about the positions that we'll be using for fantasy. So let me hop into a screen share here. And again, today I'm recording this. It is Monday, March 7th. This was the last and final day of the NFL Combine. And what we're looking at here is this is NFL.com's winners and losers. I want to first just let's just cover this, and we'll kind of go through position by position. The first big day of the combine is usually the more exciting day. That's when QBs, wideouts, and tight ends are all going. The second day is offensive line and running back. So we'll take a peek at these guys. And again, this is NFL.com's Chad Reuter. Let's go ahead and roll down here. One of his biggest winners was wide receiver from Western Michigan named Sky Moore. Moore was consistently explosive during the field drills on Thursday. His shorter routes were crisp, and in the one instance when Moore stumbled, he managed to concentrate on the ball to bring it in. He caught the ball cleanly and brought to mind memories of MLB great Willie Mays when grabbing passes over his head. Moore's 4.41 second 40-yard dash is a nice time for a 195-pound receiver. His performance could land him in the top 100. Very interesting guy here. So there's kind of been a trend over the last few years of usually these day and 2-3 wide receivers that kind of come from smaller schools really elevate themselves at the combine. I'm thinking of Elijah Moore, even though he wasn't a small school guy, but a guy like Elijah Moore had a really good combine last year. And now you see a guy like Sky Moore here starting to show what he can do and sticking out amongst the other talent here. So nice Western Michigan representative here, Sky Moore having a good day. And then you have a little bit bigger name here, Chris Olave, one of the number one potential wide receivers off the board in this year's draft. So Chris Olave, it says it wasn't a contest. Olave was the best receiver in Thursday's second group of wideouts. He's been called a smooth mover since he arrived at Ohio State, and he did nothing to alter that reputation at the combine. Olave caught nearly everything thrown his way, grabbing several throws well away from his frame, whether deep or short. His 4.39 40 impressed more than his 32-inch vertical and 10.4 broad jump. Regardless, Olave planted his flag as one of the top two receivers in the draft. So that's Olave. If you put on the tape of Chris Olave, you're going to see he's very smooth, very, very fast, very fun to watch. Kind of, again, just I'm thinking because he went to Ohio State, but Terry McLaurin kind of comes to mind in a way. Just a really smooth wide receiver, good at the contested catch point, and he can extend his hands away from his body. The disappointing thing, so I mean, he ran a great 40 time, 4.39, but his vertical jump, 32 inches, that's one of the lowest at the wide receiver position, and then 10.4 broad jump. So his vertical game and his jumping is not the best, but again, he's one of the smoothest and most efficient route runners of the receiving class. We'll move on to a tight end here, Chig Okongo. Okongo impressed at this year's East-West Shrine Bowl, and he should continue his ascent on draft boards after a strong workout. His effort started with a 4.52 40-yard dash, and he weighs 238 pounds. Which was considerably faster than any of the other tight ends. We'll look at the 40 times in a bit. Like I said, it says he looked as smooth on the field on Thursday as he did on Saturdays during the season. He didn't catch every ball thrown his way, but showed an ability to track passes over his shoulder and adjust to other throws that work directly on target. So I'm interested here. Chig Okongo, I haven't really done much highlight study tape of him. But what they're saying about him, he's got a grade of a 5.66, candidate for bottom of roster or practice squad. So he's still kind of like a late round flyer at the tight end position, maybe a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick. So nothing too crazy here, but it is something to note that when a tight end runs a 4.52, going to turn some heads. And then from what I saw, so I like Sky Moore, but this was probably the receiver here that I thought was one of the biggest winners, and that's Christian Watson out of North Dakota State. Again, another small receiver here doing a lot of good work. So it says Watson, a former FCS receiver, proved he belonged on Thursday night, running a 4.36 40-yard dash, and he weighs 208 pounds. He posted another excellent test results like an 11.4 broad jump and a 38.5-inch vertical. He was smooth and nimble in his route running during drills, showing his ability while competing alongside Olave, Garrett Wilson, and other FBS stars. Watson's now pushing for a top 50 draft slot. So Watson a guy that was, I think he was like a top 15 receiver kind of heading into the combine, and now they're saying he might be drafted in the top 50 overall and probably commands a potential top 5 receiver position as well. So Watson's a guy that I have to do more work on and figure him out, but it's looking like, to me, this was the biggest winner from the draft. And again, we'll open up. I have a spreadsheet here. We'll look at that and open up some of the numbers and things and show you guys. But Christian Watson, very, very clearly at the top of the list for a lot of things. And what's crazy is, so the Christian Watson numbers, just for comparison, he ran faster than Chris Olave. He's bigger than Chris Olave. And of course, he jumped better. He had basically 1 foot extra of a broad jump and basically 6.5 inches higher for a vertical. So bigger, faster, stronger than Chris Olave. Exciting stuff. So Christian Watson, definitely a guy we're going to get more into. And then we got a quarterback here, Malik Willis. Willis consistently made things look easy on Thursday night, showing excellent arc on his deep throws. While he did overthrow a couple of shorter targets, his slants got into the receiver's hands in a hurry. The moment wasn't too big for him, and he was encouraging his fellow combine participants during their reps. He chose not to run a 40-yard dash, which is disappointing, but he already has plenty of tape that displays what he can do with the ball in his hand. So I like Malik Willis. I really don't think the combine can tell us too much stuff about a quarterback. I mean, you're talking about a quarterback basically just throwing to a wide open receiver in shorts. Nothing too crazy here, but apparently he looked good. He made some good impressions here, and I think he interviewed very well too. Some of the biggest losers. Here we go. We have wide receiver David Bell. It says Bell needed an excellent combine workout to put aside questions about his athleticism. And I think now we just have more questions. His 33-inch vertical, sub 10-foot broad jump, and 4.65 40-yard dash did not go well. So his 40 was one of the slower ones, his 33-inch vertical one of the shortest ones, and the sub 10-foot broad jump is very concerning. So he did not athletically come out in the best light. Bell was solid in on-field drills, showing the strong hands that earned him Big Ten Receiver of the Year honors. Wide receiver coaches will be interested in his services in the middle rounds, though. So he's probably a 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick now. That he might have lost any steam that he had in the 2nd round. He definitely lost some steam to Christian Watson and maybe even Sky Moore. Now, this next one was pretty surprising. Treylon Burks, who was kind of the number 2, number 3 wide receiver. He's really fun. He's kind of comparable to A.J. Brown if you haven't watched him yet, but it says Burks, 4.55 second 40 time is just fine for a 225-pound receiver. His 32-inch vertical and 10-foot 2 broad jump were not exceptional, though, even for a player his size. So we're talking about a guy who's jumping the same as Chris Olave, who's 30 pounds smaller than him and a few inches shorter. So that's very concerning. Very concerning indeed. Again, Chris Olave, I think he's 5. Let me see the numbers on Chris Olave real quick. Go to my receivers tab. Let's go ahead and let me see. Chris Olave, where are you? So Olave, again, Olave's 6. He's basically 6'0", 6'0". He's 187 pounds. And then you have a guy from Arkansas here, Treylon Burks, who weighs 225. So we're talking 40 pounds more, almost 40 pounds more, and basically got 2 inches on him, and he's not jumping much significantly better. So I'm concerned about Treylon Burks not testing very well. The speed's fine, but again, it's these jumping abilities that make me a little concerned. It says Burks was inconsistent during his drill work, sometimes looking smooth catching passes, but appearing too linear in his movements at other times. With impressive performances happening all around him, Burks' outing was not what he needed to secure the top receiver spot in the draft. So he's still a 1st-round pick. I think a lot of people are going to be excited to get him, but he's probably dropping himself now into the 20s or maybe even into the 2nd round of the NFL draft. And then our final loser here from this NFL.com list is Jake Ferguson. Ferguson needed a big combine performance to climb into the conversation for a top 100 pick. He was steady and solid in position drills, but his 15 bench press reps and 4.81 40-yard dash at 250 pounds renewed doubts about his overall athleticism. The former Badger will still be a good safety valve for his new quarterback when he hits the next level, but Thursday's results likely mean he'll be available on day 3 of the draft. So just nothing happening athletically for the Wisconsin tight end. Let's move on to, so we just covered quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends. I want to cover the running backs real quick. And again, this is Chad Ruder, NFL.com. I might even link it in the description if you guys want to read it yourself, but I'm kind of doing that for you. Let's see the biggest winners here. Chig Okongo, one of the offensive tackles here. Abraham Lucas, one of the offensive tackles here, Dylan Parham, one of the offensive guards. And now we get to the running back here, Pierre Strong. So the headlines after Friday's workout might laud Breece Hall for his 4.39 40 time and his 40-inch yada, yada, yada. But Strong had a faster 40 time at 4.37 and his 36-inch hops, as well as his superior on-field work gave him the best all-around evening among running backs. So very crazy. So let me read this again because it's kind of choppy. So Breece Hall, the number one running back, in the draft this year, he ran a 4.39 and he had a 40-inch vertical. Just that's freakishly good. But here you have Pierre Strong running a faster 40, so 4.37, and his vertical jump 36-inch hops. Like that's better than Treylon Burks. That's better than Chris Olave. That's very impressive. And then it says his superior work on the field gave him the best all-around evening among running backs. So you have a running back here who was not even really he's not even a top 5 running back on a lot of rankings. So to see him excelling and sticking out like he did is very encouraging. So the South Dakota State running back might have put himself into the second or third round of the draft. It says Hall's straight line speed was confirmed, as was his hip tightness in position drills, which means I still expect him to be a second-round pick with great potential as a breakaway threat. Strong, on the other hand, really helped himself. Not only did he show off long speed with and without the ball in his hands, but also when getting into a flat and downfield routes. His foot quickness in bag drills was very good, and the former Jackrabbit also showed an excellent second-level shake. Throw in reliable hands as a receiver, adjusting to passes thrown a bit behind him and over his head, and the FCS star proved himself worthy of a top 100 selection. So they're saying he is going to be a third-round pick minimum. So I'm excited about this. I'm just actually going to I'm going to my draft kit prep kit here on the Fantasy Fellowship. Let's go ahead and click running backs. And I'm just curious because the running backs, they didn't even have him ranked very high. They had him ranked as like the 15th best running back. That might have changed now. I want to go ahead and hit stats. And then I want to go to the mock draft database because I'm going to have to, now that the combine has happened, I'm going to go ahead and update this. And let's look and see here. So he didn't really move up too much. He's still kind of down here. They have him around, peak at 131. So he's going to go up in the draft order at some point. But his stats at South Dakota State last season, he had 240 rushing attempts for 1,673 yards, 18 touchdowns, 22 catches, 150 yards, 22, 21, 14 catches in the last 3 seasons. So he's a really strong player. I'll probably do a profile on him separately. But man, really good stuff here. One of the bigger winners at the running back position. Up next here, we have Kenneth Walker III. So Walker staked his claim to the number 1 spot at running back on Friday night. His 4.38 40-yard time at 211 pounds matches what he showed while earning the 2021 Doak Walker Award as college football's top back. Walker's 34-inch vert and 10'2" broad jump were solid, if not spectacular. His quick feet and agility drills were noteworthy. However, and he caught the ball well. This is hard to read. His quick feet and agility drills were noteworthy, however, and he caught the ball well for a back who made just 19 grabs in 3 years at Wake Forest and Michigan State. Combining his 2021 tape with his confirmed speed might land him an early spot on day 2 of the draft, and he might have to wait for Breece Hall to come off the board first. So it looks like he's a consensus top 2, top 3 running back. I think Kenny Walker, you have Breece Hall, and you have Isaiah Spiller, who might be one of our losers coming up here. So let me go ahead and read here. Isaiah Spiller, Texas A&M running back. Spiller's game is built on speed and agility, but he chose not to run the 40 and only achieved average test results. A 30-inch vert and a 9'6" broad jump. He looked good at times catching the ball and getting over the bags and drills, but the 6-foot back ran with a high pad level and did not look any more explosive than the other top backs. If Spiller runs well at his pro day, he might be able to grab a top 50 selection. But this workout did not move him any closer to achieving that status. So it looks like he's kind of stepped back to the number 3 spot. It's Kenneth Walker as well as Breece Hall as the top 2 running backs. So that was it from Chad Reuter. Kind of difficult to read there, Chad. I have to say, maybe condense those sentences a little bit. But anyways, let's go ahead and look at PFF real quick. They just kind of whipped out a couple guys here. So one of their biggest winners was Desmond Ridder. You didn't need the combine to know Ridder was fast, but for him to show up at 211 pounds, 4 pounds heavier than his Senior Bowl measurement, and still test well was a win for him. His 4.52 40-yard dash, 36-inch vert and 10'7" broad jump are all tremendous figures. Kenny Pickett, of course, his hand measured 8.5 inches. That's not great. Usually you want 9.5 for a starting quarterback, but this is a big deal, I think, for a lot of people. Not too much for me. I don't really take too much stock into the combine, so it's kind of whatever for me. Here are some running back winners and losers. Breece Hall, of course. Hall went out and put up Jonathan Taylor-esque combine numbers as he matched the former Badgers running back's 4.9340. He was the largest back in attendance to go sub 4.4 at 217 pounds. Let the back end of round one hype begin for him and Kenny Walker. So these guys are both going to be pushing, him and Walker pushing for end of the first round. Honorable mention, there's Kenneth Walker, Zamir White. So I think it's interesting that PFF didn't even mention Pierre Strong here. And then here, the loser for PFF was Kyren Williams from Notre Dame. Williams' day started on the wrong foot when he weighed in at only 194 pounds, and it only got worse from there. He managed the slowest 40-yard dash of any player in attendance at running backs. That's 4.65, and only managed a 32-inch vert and a 9'8" broad jump. So those are rough figures that apparently look worse even with the weight adjusted. So you also see Isaiah Spiller and Zonovan Knight here from NC State. At wide receiver, our guy Christian Watson getting the second one there. So Watson, the people are banging on the table for Watson here. And then you see an honorable mention for Sky Moore. Calvin Austin, we'll look at him in a bit. He jumped off on some of the numbers. You have Kevin Austin Jr. and Tyquan Thornton, who was the fastest at the combine. And then there's Treylon Burks, also David Bell and Dontario Drummond. So a lot of people disappointed in some of the bigger receivers. And then at tight end, the winner, Greg Dulcich from UCLA. Others put up better numbers in the explosive drills, but Dulcich had the best all-around performance. He was one of the few prospects who competed in every single drill, and he put up above average numbers in all of them. So just a really steady showing from Greg Dulcich. I like his film. He's a really good runner. Honorable mentions, Jelani Woods. Tested off the charts athletically. We'll get to him in a second. There's Okongo, who we covered earlier, and Daniel Bellinger out of San Diego State. And the losers, Cole Turner from Nevada, and, of course, Jake Ferguson. So we'll see what happens here. And that was pretty much it from the winners and losers. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go through some of the lists here. And I want to shout out on Twitter, Alex Katzen. I put his handle in the link below. Award-winning spreadsheet guy is right. I actually got all of my my spreadsheet from the combine for him, and I linked his spreadsheet in the description, but I went and I kind of doctored this one up a little bit that I got from him. But he went and got all the measurements and all the times and everything here. Let's start with the QBs. Let me kind of just zoom in a little bit here, and that should be good. Okay, so at quarterback here, the guy that the tallest quarterback on the list here is going to be Cole Kelly, 6'7", and then it jumps down to Desmond Ridder, 6'3", Carson Strong, 6'3", Kenny Pickett, 6'3". All these guys kind of in the same here. Other quarterbacks of note: Matt Corral, 6'1" and 5'8". You have EJ Perry, really fast quarterback here. Pretty short here for Sam Howell and Bailey Zapp. As well as Malik Willis. So these guys all basically just a half inch or so over 6 feet tall. The other guys at the top of the list, Ridder, Strong, and Pickett, all 6'3" and above. So those are the main 6 quarterbacks that you want to know this year, as well as Corral. So Corral in the middle, Ridder, Strong, and Pickett at the top for heights. Weights, I don't really care about. Here's the hand size thing, just to show you guys. I mean, Pickett had the smallest hands there. Of 15 quarterbacks, he had the smallest hands there. Desmond Ridder, though, some of the bigger hands, 10, you're talking a 10-inch spread. And the way they measure is from the tip of the pinky to the tip of the thumb. And I measured mine separately. I ended up with 9 and 5/8 of an inch. So I would have been, I guess, where Matt Corral is. But interesting here. Ridder, someone that we want to get to know for fantasy. Bailey Zappi, another player here. And Matt Corral, 3, some of my favorite quarterbacks there. Let's move on to, I don't really care about arm, wingspan, don't really care about. Let's take a peek at that 40 time. And not everybody ran, but Ridder did put up a 4.49. I think it was also 4.52 the official time. EJ Perry, 4.6. Kenny Pickett did test well in the 40. Zappy, 4.78. And then guys that did not run, Corral, Willis, Carson Strong, and Howell. Don't know if that numbers matter for me. Cone drill, don't really know if these matter. All these numbers really don't matter for me for the quarterback. We'll take a look at the vert real quick. Desmond Ridder with the best vert. So Ridder was the best. He was the best guy that tested pretty much everything. And then if you know what RAS is, this is your relative athletic score. Ritter's got it all, man. He put up a 9.56 out of 10. Very, very high, very successful. I like what I saw from Ritter here. And I don't know why EJ Perry put up a 9.3. I don't know why he's down there, but it's good to see. Pickett put up a 9.24. And then some of our other guys just didn't register. They didn't have enough results here. So Corral, Willis, Carson Strong, and Howell just didn't test enough. So those are the numbers for the quarterbacks. Let's go take a peek at our running backs. Height and weights, that's nothing that I really care about too much. Let's take a peek at these 40 times, though. So you had six, I think, this was a record-setting 6 players under 4.4 in the 40-yard dash. Pierre Strong, Isaiah Pacheco, I think that's how you say his name. Devontae Price from FIU, he's an interesting player. Kenneth Walker, Ty Chandler, and Breece Hall. So definitely the names to know on this list. You want to know Breece, you want to know Kenneth Walker. I'm going to say you want to know Pierre Strong, and then you're going to want to also know Devontae Price, who I think is moving up people's boards. So those are 4 of the fastest guys here. I do like Zamir White as well. You also have James Cook, both guys, of course, playing at Georgia, both really, really fun to watch. And then as we get down here, Brian Robinson didn't really stick out, I believe, at the draft or at the combine here. So that was kind of different. And then where is Kyron Williams, man, down here? That's not some people just don't test very well at these kind of things, and that might be the case with him. But other than that, I mean, Isaiah Spiller did not run, so he's down there. But those are some of the names here that I really like towards the top. I like Rashad White as well, so I'll highlight him. I don't think anyone benched too much. Who all benched here? You don't go to the combine and bench. But we do have a few guys benching, and you have, let me actually zero this out so it goes to the top. So Hassan Haskins from Michigan, Snoop Connor, potential big backs here that could be drafted. Well, the top of the list here, these guys are all well over 200 pounds. So these are your prototypical big backs. You might see these guys get drafted and used as potential goal line backs. But vertical jump, let's see who had the best vertical jump in this. Let's go ahead and filter that now. And Breece Hall with the 40, an inch and a half higher than the next guy, Kevin Harris. There's Rashad White. I mentioned I liked him, and Pierre Strong again towards the top of the list. You got Price and Kenneth Walker, Zamir White, some interesting names here. But again, Breece Hall, one of the fastest, one of the best jumpers. Let's go ahead and look at broad jump now too. Jarian Ely out of Ole Miss, a lot of fun. But there's Zamir White, Breece Hall at number 3. Again, I think that's 10'6". I believe that's 10'6", and Rashad White here. So these guys all jumping well, but to me, it's all about Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall to me is the 101 for running backs. Then you're going to have Kenneth Walker, and we'll see what Isaiah Spiller can do at his pro day. But let's keep it moving. Let's go on to wide receivers. For the tallest receiver there, you have Devin Williams here, and then Christian Watson. Let's go ahead and highlight his name as one of the better receivers in this draft. I also really like Drake London, who was not able to test because of an ankle injury. Weight, don't really care about weight. Hand size, let's just go ahead and see who's got the biggest hands. Sky Moore with the biggest hands. We'll put a check mark on him. We mentioned him as a potential top 100 wide receiver in this draft. There's Treylon Burks. I just want to shout out Burks here. Got some nice mitts on him. Garrett Wilson for being a lot smaller than Treylon. I mean, Treylon Burks is 6'2". Garrett Wilson's 5'11". So a good difference there, and basically the same hand size is pretty interesting. Let me see if I can. There's Olave right there. So we got Olave, and then I want to shout out Jahan Dotson. And these are some of the top receivers here that really interest me. You also have David Bell, Jamison Williams, and I think that's good enough for like a consensus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's kind of like the top 10. Let me see if I can find maybe one more wide receiver here for you guys. Who am I missing? George Pickens. Is it Pickens? Where's George Pickens? Alec Pierce is fun. There's George Pickens. So, okay, so we're going to highlight him. He did not have very big hands, so that's unfortunate. But anyways, let's go and look at – I want to look at wingspan now. There's Treylon Burks with the big wingspan, biggest, again, the tallest guy with the biggest wingspan there. But Treylon Burks testing very well here with the length of his arms. Let's go ahead to 40 times. And here you go. Tyquan Thornton, the Baylor product here. He had a really good, time here, 4.28. You have Velus Jones Jr. from Tennessee running a 4.31. Calvin Austin, I remember I mentioned him a few minutes ago. He's a guy who's going to test very, very well. A very fast receiver, but he's only 5'7". He's 5'7.75" tall, 170 pounds, the smallest guy at the receiver position at the combine, but very fast, very freaky fast. You have Danny Gray from SMU recording a really fast time, Bo Melton from Rutgers. But then here we go. This is where it gets fun. Christian Watson is faster than Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Sky Moore, Jahan Dotson, George Pickens, Treylon Burks, and David Bell. So very, very interesting. You got a guy. This is probably one of the best things that I think I found. Christian Watson, man, 208 pounds. Again, 6'4", running faster than guys like Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. That's just mind blowing. He's essentially 4 inches taller than both of them, and he weighs 25 pounds more, than these guys, and he's moving at a big pace here. So he's probably one of the best winners again of the draft here. Biggest loser, there's David Bell. We mentioned him. Treylon Burks with his slow time, but for his size, that's fine. We're gonna wait and see what Drake London and Jameson. I don't know if Jameson Williams is gonna run with his latest injury, but Drake London should run at his pro day. Let's go ahead and look at. I don't care too much about 3-cone. Let me actually go ahead and delete all these numbers here. So the best 3-cone drill guy. There's your Kevin Austin from Notre Dame, your Bo Melton, some of the quicker receivers there. Let me look at the shuttle times real quick. I can't remember is it a 20-yard shuttle or a 10-yard shuttle, something. Just some fast times here from these guys. Calvin Austin, again, from Memphis, the small guy. But I care about vertical leap. Let me go ahead and delete these verticals and the broads. And let's take a look. Who had the worst jump? The worst jump was Trey Turner, Reggie Robertson, Makai Polk, Johnny Johnson, and Chris Olave. One of the worst verticals in this class. David Bell, Treylon Burks at the bottom of the list, as well as George Pickens. So I want my guys to jump, and these guys just are not jumping. On the opposite end, Alec Pierce, the productive receiver out of Cincinnati, not a very fast guy. He did run a 4.41, which is a fine number, but this is a fringe top 10 receiver off the board. He's actually lower on a lot of these lists. But I thought he tested fine for a 6'3" guy, 211 pounds. He did run fast. He jumped high. Some good numbers there. And then there's our man, Christian Watson, coming in with a 38.5-inch vert. There's Garrett Wilson, Jahan Dotson, Sky Moore. So these guys all in green here, I would say I'm pretty impressed with what they did, and then disappointed in some of these guys as they all jumped below 33 inches. Which is a big deal. I mean, Sky Moore, a guy who's 5'9", should not be out jumping a guy like Treylon Burks, 6'2". That just should not be happening. And then broad jump real quick, maybe not as much of an important measurement here, but Watson dominated that one. There's Alec Pierce, Sky Moore, George Pickens. He did well in that one, but not so much in the vert. So that's interesting. Olave, Garrett Wilson did well in those numbers. But again, Christian Watson racking up the numbers. And then your RAS score. Leaders in RAS, Christian Watson, Isaiah Weston, who is an interesting guy, 6'3" out of Northern Iowa, 214. Smaller hands, but he ran well, good wingspan. He put up a nice number in the bench. Vertical and broad jump were very, very high. So keep an eye on this guy, Isaiah Weston out of Northern Iowa. And then there's Kevin Austin, Tyquan Thornton, Alec Pierce with a solid 9.63. And kind of like anything over 9 is like really, really athletic. So I like Alec Pierce's athleticism, and then Christian Watson for sure. So a lot of fun receiver numbers there. And then tight end numbers. Let's see. Who was the fastest tight end at the 40 here? We have this is Chig Okongo from Maryland. We talked about him early. And then there's Jelani Woods, Jelani Woods, man. He's 6'7", 253, and he ran the second best 40 time at 4.6. Really liking that. There's Greg Dulcich here, the 470. They said they liked his output. As far as the bench press, the guy that benched the most, again, the 6'7" dude, Jelani Woods from Virginia. He might be moving up draft boards right now, which I think is a very fair thing, as he was one of the fastest guys and one of the biggest guys, and he's also one of the strongest. So let's look at the 3-cone. Best time, Austin Allen. Nobody really ran the 3-cone, the shuttle, the vert. Let's take a peek at the vert. I like the vert and the broads, the broad jump. Let me see. So Isaiah Likely, he did not run the 40, which was interesting, but he had the highest vertical, 36 inches. We see not everybody did decide to jump. I wish Jelani Woods would have jumped, but he did not. But Isaiah Likely, he's a top 5 tight end this year out of Coastal Carolina, a 36-inch jump to lead the day. And there's Okongo testing very well as well. Dulcich just kind of in the middle there. And then as the broad jump leaders, Daniel Bellinger, Dulcich. So nothing too crazy for tight ends. We'll get more into these guys later. But from the RAS perspective, you have Jelani Woods as the most athletic tight end. Daniel Bellinger, a sneaky guy here coming in at number 2. And Dulcich did not test very well athletically, but he was just kind of a nice, well-rounded player all around. So that's it. That's all the numbers that I wanted to share with you guys from the 2022 NFL Combine. We'll get into more draft prospect profiles in the future. Let me know if you guys want me to profile anyone specifically. I can get into those guys for sure. And I don't know. Thank you guys so much for your time. Let me know if you liked the video. Thumbs up, subscribe. Let me know who your favorite prospect is. And yeah, we'll see you guys in future videos. Peace.